And this is Mark watching from MTC Media with your Georgetown-St John's preview. Now, at this time, even though we're I think less than 30 minutes before tip, still no word on whether Carey, Harris, or Clark are playing. Those three didn't play the last game because of illness. I don't know if they're playing today, but we're going to try to take a look at this game despite not having this information. Um, Georgetown comes into this game 6-7 overall, 0-2 in the Big East. St. John's is 9-5, 1-2 in the Big East. Now, the one thing we do know is for the second straight game, Louis Orr will be coaching the Hoyas as Georgetown goes for their first in-conference win. In the last outing, a 72-58 loss to Butler. Tyler Beard had 15 points and 5 assists in that game. St. John comes in. They've lost 2 in a row, both on the road at Providence and at UConn. They lost to the Huskies in overtime. The Huskies are one of the better teams in the conference, so losing to them in overtime certainly isn't anything to be ashamed of. The Johnnies are led by Julian Champagny. He'll be a handful. Averages over 20 points a game, over 7 rebounds a game. They have Posh Alexander. He's following up his strong freshman campaign by averaging 15.4 points per game. Last season, Alexander was Big East Freshman of the Year and Defensive Player of the Year. For Georgetown at this point and where they are and how their team's constructed, whether healthy or not healthy, a lot of their keys are going to be based on them. So it's not going to be based on, hey, if they can do this to St. John's or do that to St. John's. They are in a position where Georgetown needs to concentrate and focus on the things that are Georgetown. So it's going to start out with Aminu Muhammad. He must return to his early season form. Now, in the last 2 games, he's 7 for 33 from the field, and you can say his percentage is down because his shot selection has been very questionable over the last 2 games. I mean, he's driving into contest. He's trying to go 1-on-2. Now, there's various reasons for that. In the Butler game, you can easily argue when you looked at the roster, he was being asked to carry a lot offensively, which whether you're a 5-star or not 5-star, you're a freshman. And that is tough to do when you don't have the pieces around you on the roster to help you out on that, to heap that sort of pressure and responsibility on them. It's different when you can play off of guys. It's not like at Gonzaga. If you're a freshman at Gonzaga, if you're Chet Holmgren, you can play off of guys because of who they have. And that's not the case for Muhammad. So, he has to go back to having better shot selection. And one of the things might be for him is he has to understand that maybe it's better to get the ball in ball reversal before you attack. Don't just get the ball one pass away where the defense is starting to shift and wall. Make it be 2 passes away. Maybe it comes on a quick cut or a quick dive. Or one of the things that if you really want to go, I don't want to say old school, but if you really want to dial back a little bit, you can put Muhammad in the post. Especially against a team like St. John's, you can put Muhammad in the post and see if he can get to some early ones there or get to the free throw line early, and maybe that opens things up. So there's various ways for him to get out of this little 2-game funk. But I think it's going to be, both of those guys working together, meaning Muhammad understanding where he is on the floor and the decisions he needs to make. And frankly, Louis Orr putting them in a position to succeed, maybe moving them around in their natural sets and get them into some other spots that gives him an advantage, especially if St. John's decides to switch today. Those are things that can help Muhammad out and getting back on track. But look, he was a 5-star for a reason. Just because he has a couple of tough games as a freshman, I'm not going to throw him in a trash can. It's a little bit too much of that. Key two is inside man. No matter how you cut it, how Patrick Ewing has had this offense since he's gotten there has to be someone who can score in the post. It has been their big guys, but it doesn't have to be their big guys. And this goes back to what I'm saying before. We all know that Big Tim is coming back from injury, and And we know that he's not, some sort of offensive juggernaut. We know that Malcolm Wilson is very limited. So again, you ask Georgetown to be creative, and this comes from the coaching staff. You have to be creative with it. Why not post up Muhammad, like I said before? Why not post up Colin Holloway and Jalen Billingsley? Because I think both of them could be very good in the post. Ryan Mutombo, you can say, hey, why don't you? He's another big. I don't know about his footwork and whether he can keep up with the speed of the game. Now, hold on. Georgetown has updated. Donald Carey and Kobe Clark are not available today at St. John's because of illness. Dante Harris is available and is currently warming up. So there we go. We finally got an update on the status of those guys. No Clark, no Carey, but Harris is warming up. But going back to what I was saying with the big guys, Brian Mutombo, I just don't know if he can keep up into this sort of pace of the game. That's not to say that he doesn't ever play. Obviously, you're going to play him. I would look again to get some post touches, get some paint touches, get some post touches, and again, use Muhammad in there, use Holloway in there, use Billingsley in there. Doesn't have to be the biggest guy on the court. We don't live in that era anymore. Last but not least, as always, turnovers when you talk about Georgetown. Especially against St. John's pressure defense, Georgetown has to take care of the ball, whoever the ball handler is, whether it's Harris, whether it's Beard, whether it's someone else bringing the ball up the floor. And it's not only making the initial ball handling turnover when you're playing a team like St. John's. It's almost like playing a team like Baylor. They will force you into throwing it to a spot to turn that guy over. When we think about turnovers, sometimes we only think about turnovers in way of the ball handler. But sometimes the ball handler throws it to someone, especially against a team like this, where they're going to double up, they're going to trap up, they're going to do those things. You don't want to throw it into those areas. You throw it to those areas, and that guy turns the ball over. Everyone screams at that guy, but you can easily argue as the point guard or as the ball handler, why were you throwing it there? Because you put that guy into a trap zone. So it's not only the ball handler when we talk about turnovers. You have to understand the ball handler's decisions. And it's maybe the next guy who gets the turnover, but it's the ball handler's decision that got them in a spot to turn the ball over. That's the IQ of this game. Beyond just saying, hey, the guy dribbled it up, he passed it to that guy turned it over. Oh my gosh, why did that guy turn it over? It's not that simple, So again, Georgetown has to be smart with the ball. The game is almost tipping off. I waited as long as I could to do this because we wanted to get the status. Again, the status is Clark and Carey are out. Harris is warming up and looks to be available. Georgetown-St. John's at 4:30. This was your preview from Marcus Washington of MTC Media.